Well, hello, OnDoc Family. My name is Robert Wilson, and we are here to talk about a new and exciting program that we have for all of you today. As you can see, I'm joined by our esteemed colleagues and our esteemed panel. First, we're going to talk to Mr. Nathan Savage. You guys have probably been talking to him all the time through the customer chat and getting familiar with everything that he does. He's wonderful. Nathan, say hello to everybody.
How's it going, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great day.
Yes, Nathan. And now that they're talking to you, I'm sure that they are having a great day. Also, our esteemed Tiger, all the way from LSU, our VP of Field Operations and Field Development, Miss Katie Bonnecaze. Katie, say hello.
Hey guys, how are y'all doing?
And our founder, Ohio State Buckeyes fan, and already ready with his Christmas sweater on, Mr. Bill Wilson. Bill, how are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic, Robert. Thank you. And to keep up with Katie's theme and Nate's theme, hi, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Well, today we have three major things that we're going to talk about. The first is we're going to talk about updates to our ON, and that's ON CBD, that is OnDoc, and that's everything that's happening in the ON world. The second thing that we are going to talk about is none other than the new employees and groups program. I mean, that is what you're here to talk about. You want to know about the new employees and groups program and how you can get paid. And then right before then, we're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming events when we do the ON updates, and we're going to have a really good time. So make sure your trades are upright, locked, and in a firm position, because we are about to take off. First things first, let's talk about some ON updates. So as you guys know, we've probably had, when we went back and forth from doing the webinars on Zoom to doing them on Vimeo to doing them on Facebook, it probably created a lot of confusion. Well, guess what, guys? The ON webinars are going to come back, but they're going to come back a little differently. We're still going to do them Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, but we're really going to focus on our services and what we are offering as a business to our clients. We're going to take a little bit away from the business and not really focus on recruiting and really focus on how do we deliver the best consumer products and services as a business, especially now that we're heading into flu season. It is imperative that people have the ability to speak to a doctor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Mr. Bill Wilson, I'm sure that you're seeing the headlines every day with new COVID updates and new COVID warnings, especially when people are getting the flu. How scary could that be for a mother or maybe even a parent that is facing the flu and COVID at the same time?
I would think it would be extremely scary, and there's so many levels to it. The basic level is obviously you don't want your child to hopefully have coronavirus. Secondly, you may be thinking to yourself, I really don't want to go to an urgent care or a hospital or a doctor's office in the event that I may pick it up there. My child may pick it up on myself. Last but not least, I remember about 8 months ago speaking to a group of people here and talking about something that no one was considering, and that was that our medical facilities, our hospitals, our facilities could be overwhelmed, and it's happening. It's happening right now. So it's very scary, and not because this is the week of Halloween. It's just very scary in general.
Yes, it is very scary. It is the week of Halloween. Nathan, besides you wearing your Tony the Tiger outfit like you do every year for Halloween, you, and I don't want to get too personal, but can you talk to me about how people may feel in this season of having to go into the hospital?
Yeah, I mean, hospital, I was just there. Not COVID related at all, thank God. But it's scary, you know. I mean, you go in there, nobody can visit you, no visitors at all, so you're all by yourself. You don't know what's going on. You're sick. I mean, it doesn't really get much worse than that. So by all means, you want to avoid having to go there at all.
And guys, what Nathan did right there, which was perfect, and thank you so much, Nathan, is one of the reasons that we're going to start talking a little bit different in our webinar. So instead of really talking about our services or our business or how you can make money, we're going to focus on storytelling, right? Storytelling, right? What was the problem? What issue were you facing? And then how was OnDoc able to take that particular issue and then turn it into something positive? That is storytelling. That is the most important thing that you can do when you are trying to recommend our services. Not just tell somebody that they can earn income, not just tell somebody that they should get to OnDoc because they can talk to a doctor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. No, personal experiences about you and your interaction with our service. And that's why, number one, in our webinars, we're going to focus on storytelling. And what that means is that we're going to need you, the OnDoc members. Believe me, I've heard from hundreds of you that have told me all of these wonderful things about our services. Well, you just got a text message or an email last night with a link that you can easily give a review. Make sure you do give that video review. It needs to be between 1 or 2 minutes, and tell that story. Make sure you tell that story, because that will be the difference between us being a great telehealth company and us being an exceptional telehealth company. Now, also in our webinars, we're going to have concise messaging, really focusing on what we do, why we do it, how we do it, and what kind of impact or problem are we solving in the United States right now. Let's move over to Katie. Katie, let's talk about one of the problems that we are facing right now as a nation, and that is the healthcare problem. Katie, I don't want to talk about your age, but you are a millennial. Is that fair?
Yes, that is true.
Okay, and when we are talking about healthcare, considering that we are in an election year, what are some of the issues that people your age are facing? And I'm not trying to put your business out there, but just so everybody knows, you are a single professional woman, right? A millennial professional woman. What are some of the things that your peers are talking about when it comes to healthcare?
I mean, most people these days, you obviously get, most people get their healthcare through employers.
Mhm.
But as we all know, the United States right now, some people have lost their jobs or had inconsistent work throughout this entire year, mostly because of the pandemic. So I think a lot of people are unsure, like, where am I getting my healthcare from? How am I going to be able to see a doctor if I get sick? And like, how am I going to take care of myself? Or if you have a family, how are you going to be able to do that? So I think a lot of people are looking for options right now. They're looking for different ways that may be more cost effective as well, because healthcare is expensive for anybody, whether your employer is paying for it or whether you are paying for it. So I think those are a lot of the things people are looking at.
Absolutely. And what Katie did, and this is why she's just so great at what she does, is OnDoc provides not only peace of mind and value, but it also bridges the gap. And what do I mean by bridging the gap is I mean that there is lots of people, millions of people right now in the United States that either lost their job because of COVID, got furloughed, got laid off, and now it's starting to come to a point where they do not have health benefits, and they're going and they're looking through all of these different websites, and they're confused, they're bewildered, they're entangled into tons of paperwork and finding out what is the best provider or what can they have. Well, guess what? OnDoc is a solution to their problems, because it is bridging the gap between the time that they do not have health benefits, which is right now, and the time that they could potentially get health benefits later. Now, we all know that if they sign up for OnDoc right now and they use the service, it doesn't matter what happens here when they start getting health benefits, they're always going to keep OnDoc. But that's your job as the OnDoc members out there to deliver those stories and to let people know that it's so important and it's vital right now as we approach this flu season, that they make sure that they can talk to a doctor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, Robert, how do I tell my story? Robert, I don't know who I should be talking to. Robert, I don't know how to sell OnDoc. Well, guess what? Number one, you're not selling OnDoc. We are not a sales company. We're not a network marketing company. What we are is we are very simply a healthcare organization that focuses on delivering quality services to improve your standard of health. So when we talk about training, or when we talk about ways to deliver the best kind of stories that we can possibly do, we are going to launch a 6-week training program hosted by me that's called Impact. Some of those things that we are going to focus on are strategy, social media, sales skills, marketing. We're going to put this in the post, and we're going to send you guys the link to register. It's only going to be available for 50 people, and also it's available for everyone. It doesn't have to be an OnDoc member. We aren't going to focus on how do you sell OnDoc. It's going to be what are some of the best practices when you're on social media? What are some of the best skills to expand your sphere of influence around social media and marketing and strategy and sales? And that is what we are going to focus on. Invite your friends, invite your family members. It's going to be 1 hour a day for 1 hour every week for 6 weeks. It's probably going to start somewhere in the mid-November. Make sure you register now, and we're going to get to it. So now that we've talked about training, now that we've talked about everything that we are going to do with the future of webinars, it's time for the moment that you all have been waiting for. And that is our new employee and groups program. You've probably already noticed on our website, there's a button that you can click at the top. If you just go to on-doc.com, you can see that there's an employees and groups tab there. You can check that out on your own time. But before we talk about all the wonderful things in the program and how you can get paid, let's talk about why we're doing it. So we're going to go over to our esteemed colleague in his Grinch sweater, Mr. Bill Wilson. Bill, can you talk a little bit about why this is so important and why we're doing this?
Well, there's multiple reasons that we're doing this, and one, the timing of it. Right now, and we saw this last year, right now, a lot of people who do have health care are going through open enrollment right now. They're going through open enrollment. What we learned, unfortunately, last year is that there were a lot of people, and many of you have even told me about it. There were organizations whose employees were opting out of the employer-paid benefits because the monthly premiums were too high for them to have to pay. So open enrollment period is going on. It's just starting. It's going to go on throughout November and probably into early December. So we need to take advantage of rolling this opportunity out now. The other situation is that, again, there are over 5 million people that have lost their health coverage and their health benefits since the coronavirus has hit in the last 7 months or so. So there are people who may have jobs, they may be furloughed from jobs, but whatever the case, they lost the ability to have access to health care. There are also a lot of small businesses who are struggling. They're struggling right now. They're not able to have the same type of volume of customers coming into their establishments, so they're not making as much money. And when you start not making as much money as a business, you start looking at ways to trim your costs. Unfortunately, one of the most expensive areas for those organizations are healthcare, and they're cutting that. So this is an opportunity to go to some of those businesses kind of with a fig leaf, kind of with a way to say, here's a great opportunity that you can still provide a service to your employees to show them that you care and something that they need and want and will utilize.
Woo! You got me excited there, Bill. I like that. Keep those coming. Keep those coming. That sounds great. our esteemed colleague all the way from the land down under, Mr. David Fitzsimmons is on now. He's the Chief Information Officer at OnDoc. David, when we started this program, when we were starting this program, we talked about being able to provide value for employers and groups. Can you talk a little bit about the value and why it's so important for employers to look at this program and kind of touch on some of the things that Bill just already did?
Hey guys, I would absolutely love to do that. Yeah, the value is astonishing here. For those people who know a little bit about our services, you know about our bundle and the core elements that form that bundle. So it is an amazing thing. And the value is not just the services, but for the employer, it goes further than that. So suddenly, instead of being an organization that can't afford to provide their staff the health insurance, what you can provide is this fantastic bundle which helps differentiate you from all the other market. So that way you become an employer of choice. So suddenly, when all of your colleagues who are in similar industry can't do anything, then you're providing something that obviously that's going to make a massive difference between you and those other businesses. It's also going to reduce potential staff churn because people are going to be drawn to your business because you're offering something beyond what the other people are doing. And it's also going to mean that staff absenteeism drops because we know if you've got some of those symptoms of COVID, then you really shouldn't be going to work. But if you can jump on a call 24/7, get diagnosed and given peace of mind that you do not have COVID, you're good to go, then suddenly you can turn up to work and continue to earn. And that's fantastic for the employee as well as the employer, guys. So there's enormous value for organizations when they join this that's beyond the fantastic services that we offer. So you should be super excited to introduce this to businesses. They will be very thankful to you by introducing them and allowing them to leverage this to get through this really challenging and difficult time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, David. I really appreciate it. There was one day when we were coming back from a business trip. It was Katie, me, and somebody else. We were coming back from a business trip. We landed in Dallas, and Katie looked over at me while we were walking to the parking lot, and she said, "I can't remember where I parked my car." And I had told her in advance to make sure that she took a note because the Dallas airport is extremely scary when it comes to parking your car, and it can be extremely nervous, and especially if you can't find it. So, long story short, 25 to 30 minutes later, we found her car, and then she got out safely. Now, as soon as she pulled out, I did what any person would do in my situation. I thought to myself, what is going to happen to me? So now we're going to talk about, what is in it for you, right? What is in it for you? That's great, Robert. We're listening to the employers. We want to help people, but also we want to get paid, right? Nathan, you want to get paid, right?
Always
Want to get paid. So what we're going to do next is we're going to talk about the process, right? And no, I am not talking about the Philadelphia 76ers. It is not that long of a process. It is a very short process, and it has the ability to pay out substantially. Now, we're going to talk about roles. What your role is as the member is simple. Katie, can you let them know what their role is as the member?
Yes, what are we looking from you guys is to have relationships with businesses that you've talked to before, you've had some sort of relationship with, and your role is to just submit a form that gives us their information.
That's it.
And contact name. That is it.
That is it, guys. That is it. It is easy as that. That's what you talk about with peace of mind. No, here's what you are not going to have to do. You are not going to have to deliver a presentation. You are not going to have to ask them to sign up. You are not going to have to follow up with them and make phone calls. You are not going to have to explain how the program works. You are not going to have to explain to them how the benefits are going to affect them and their employees. Whoa! Talk about a weight being lifted off the shoulder. No, what your job is in your role is to set the stage. Set the stage. Set the stage. It may sound something like this. Hello, Mr. Business Owner. You know that I come in here all the time. I love buying your products. Your pizza is incredible. Do you currently have health insurance or a healthcare provider that you offer to your employees, your delivery drivers, and everybody out here? No, Robert, I don't. Or yes, Robert, I do. Is it expensive? Yes, it is. Would it be okay with you? Remember, would it be okay with you if I would put you in contact with somebody that can help your organization save money on their healthcare? Yes, yes, you can. Okay. Get their name, get their phone number, get their business information, address, stuff like that. Put it into our simple lead form, and we take care of the rest. Now, that's how it works at a 90,000 foot view. Of course, there's tons of things that we're doing behind the scenes. You have no idea how many plugs that David is plugging up over here, and this is going here, and this is going here. But if you want to get a better understanding, you can look at this graph right here, and you can see that there's a bunch of different steps, and there's a bunch of different things that are happening. And don't just look at A to F and think like, oh, that seems small. No, in each one of those letters, there's a multitude of things that are happening. But why would we go through all of those things with you? What we want you to focus on are two things: submitting leads and getting paid. Submitting leads and getting paid. Submitting leads and getting paid. If I ever say something 3 times, it's so important. So what we're going to talk about now is how much you get paid. And let's move over to Nathan Savage, because he loves to get paid. Nathan, what is the percentage that they are going to get paid?
So they will be getting 5% per customer payment.
Woo! 5%. That is a lot. I remember a lot of sales jobs that I used to have that I was only getting 1 or 2% or maybe even 0.5%. And we're talking about organizations, people that have over 10 people that are groups. It could be thousands and thousands and thousands of people. You could have an organization that you sign up that has 5,000 people in it. And if I did the math, that's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of money. And remember that this isn't getting paid one time. Oh, no, sir, Bob. We are paying out residual income. That means every single month. And remember, the only thing that you had to do was submit the lead. We are going to do the rest. Mr. Bill Wilson, how does that sound?
I think it sounds fantastic. Obviously, I mean, we talked about businesses and organizations with 10 people or those up to thousands and thousands. I know there's churches with over 10,000 members within their organization. There's a tremendous amount of opportunities. The opportunities have increased as a result of coronavirus. Some of the things I mentioned earlier. We're kind of in a great place right now because we're backed and supported by the first and largest telemedicine provider in the United States. And so why do you say that, Bill? What's the significance of that? There's 2 things. The first is, as of October 1st, almost all insurance companies have stopped paying the copay for telehealth visits. They kind of quietly put that information out there. All through the summer, they were saying telehealth visits, we're paying the copay. That ended October 1st for the majority of insurance companies. We never had it to begin with, so we never had to end it. That's an advantage of using us, OnDoc, and using our services. The second thing is that happened as a result of the coronavirus. There were a lot of fly-by-night telehealth companies that came into existence. Some of them are gone already. There were other physicians' offices who felt they could operate their own telehealth organizations. Gone. They couldn't do it. It's not as simple as it seems. We had a customer I spoke to just recently who said his physician's office was now offering telehealth. Okay, great. How was it? Well, I had to schedule an appointment. Okay. they can only do it after 5 o'clock. Okay, it can only be with one of the 2 or 3 physicians that are in the office. Okay, they weren't ready. They didn't tell me whether I called them or they contacted me. So I contacted them and I spent 8 minutes on the phone with the physician and it was horrible. So you obviously, you won't have to get into those types of stories with people, but if you're aware of those, Robert talked about storytelling. If you're aware of those situations and anybody you communicate with has experienced anything like that, I think that just increases the volume of the opportunities. It increases the willingness of people to listen to you. And it most importantly increases their ability to internalize, to hear and internalize what it is you're saying because they probably experienced it. I know that's more than you wanted to hear, Robert, but I wanted to say that.
Oh, no, that's fine. And we know the brain can secure only what the rear end can endure. So we don't want to take any more of your time. Katie, I know that in the art of transparency, we are just going to send out an email tonight, and you guys will be able to click the link within the box tonight and the comments. Tomorrow, we're going to post it on Telegraph, so you'll be able to get all this information. But we want you guys who came here live tonight to get to hear it first. So remember that in the future, that the people who are, because we're only going to take around 50. So the people that came live are going to have a one-up on everybody else, right? So you're here now. No one else is going to have the link to the form except the people that watch this video tonight. Tomorrow, we're going to post all the information on Telegraph. We will send you the link through an email, and then you'll also be able to get the link to register for the 6-week course and all of those wonderful things. If you have any questions, you can follow up with us anytime. We are here for you. Remember, OnDoc is the place where dreams come true. Talk to you. Oh, go ahead, Katie. I'm sorry.
As Robert just said, we're only going to take 50. By that, he's just meaning that, this is like a new program for us, you guys. And so we're going to work our way through it as we go. Things might evolve, but that's what we're kind of going to start out with. And I think it's going to be very successful. So we're really excited about it.
But you think, or do you know?
I know it's going to be successful.
All right, perfect. I know it's going to be successful too. And guess what, guys? The more successful we are is going to be the more that you get paid. So remember, it's extremely important to make sure that the leads that you are submitting are hot leads, the people that you know. If you start submitting leads to people and we talk to the people and they're like, oh, I never heard of that guy, Robert Wilson. Does he wear a hat when he does webinars? Well, they would know me. But if they didn't know me, right, then that would be a bad lead. And that would mean that we are not, I wouldn't say wasting time, but we are giving our time to someone who we could have been giving it to someone else. It's extremely important that we police that. It's extremely important that we all have a role to fulfill. And once those roles are fulfilled, like my father used to say, and we get our system down, then it's going to be like hot syrup on fluffy buttermilk pancakes in Saturday morning. Have a good night, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful time. We will see you next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Have a good one.
Hi,